This is the second video on the Monte Carlo simulation of mean reversion. And in this video, we're going to start just showing how crazy it is to make a Monte Carlo simulation without considering correction cost, mean reversion, minimums, and other things. It just makes such a dramatic difference. It's incredible. We're also going to show you that you don't have to buy some program like At Risk or Crystal Ball to do this. Okay, it's just unbelievable. Let me press Shift Control C. These are our inputs. Now what we're going to do is, instead of using this price, we're going to put a price in here, and we're going to start putting some parameters. Let's put a start price. And I think they used the 12.5. Shift Control 1. And now let's put a volatility. And let's make that at 20%. And then let's put a growth. Okay? Oh, well. Okay. I'll just copy that. So let's put 2.5%. Okay. Okay, and then Shift Control P. And now what we do is we put 12.5 if we want to make this into a Monte Carlo simulation. In the next one, we multiply 12.5 by 1 plus the growth rate first. Okay? And then you add the last value. And when you add the last value, you first multiply it by the volatility. And then you multiply it by a normal distribution, and that's what they used, is normal, NOR, and SIND. And then you just put random number. Okay, and then you've got, whoops, and NORN, that one, and then you put IND. Okay, and then double click. Okay, and this gives you your oil price. Oh, that's okay, oil price. No, it's not. It's really low, actually. And then if we want to, I can press F9, but if we're getting different oil prices here. These are not that dramatic. Did I do something wrong? Just a minute. I took this 1 plus that times the prior number multiplied by 11, which was the oil price. Okay, now if we keep recalculating the sheet, just a minute. Oh, now let's put the revenues as this price times, whoops, this price times this one. Okay, and so now we have a simulation. And look, we have a minimum DSCR way below 1. And if you can press F9 to calculate. Now another negative minimum DSCR. The PLCR, interesting, mainly even with this crazy thing without mean reversion is still okay. Okay, but that's all we do. Now, if we wanted to make a simulation out of this, okay, and I think what let's before we do the simulation, we'll do the simulation in the next one. But now let's put a mean reversion. Okay. Now, and then I'm going to insert a couple of lines because we're running out of space. And we have to, let's say it takes 3 years to get back to our price. And what we also need to do is put a production cost, or a long-run marginal cost. And I'm going to say that is, let's say background equals 40. Okay, whoops, okay. Shift Control 140. Okay, and we'll put that 40 and we'll multiply that by 1 plus the growth rate. Okay, that's a whole lot different. Oops. Let's just start with 40 and then multiply by 1 plus that growth rate. What did I don't know what I did then. Now if we do this, we take our same formula, but this time we add, we say, okay, we're going to take the last price we had minus, we put, we've got to add this, we've got to take the average minus the last price. So that's going to mean it's going to go up if it's greater. And then we multiply that by the mean reversion factor. Okay, and then what happens is you gradually start getting up to the mean reversion factor. So now when we recalculate, other people from the wedding, we keep recalculating. Oops. The minimum DSCR is actually always the first one. It mainly gives us a much higher if we have put a price of 20, or occasionally we get something less. It's still not giving us all these negative crazy things. This mean reversion has an enormous effect. If we put 0 for the mean reversion factor, then we're back to this craziness. Okay, now what you can do is, let's just, how about we'll make a graph of this, and we'll press alternate and F1 and just put the graph right up here, and I'm going to, this is our graph of the oil price. In fact, I think I could probably get away with putting it there. Okay, and you know, if let's change the chart type and make it a line chart. I hope this noise isn't too much for it. Now if this is the I'm going to have to stop the video. I'm going to get in trouble. I'm in the middle of the Okay, I hope it's a little more quiet now in this little hotel in Little India. And here again, now what we did was put the oil price. Now if we have a 0 mean reversion, we get these low oil prices go down to 2. If we have a 20% mean reversion, it doesn't get anywhere near that. It got up. Let's put a 50% mean reversion. Then it kind of just follows along the oil trend. If it's 100%, whoops, 100% mean reversion, it just kind of swings around the production cost. How could you not reflect the production cost in a long-term analysis that goes out 35 years? What are you, nuts? This is really, you know, it just makes, if you want to use a Monte Carlo analysis and you're going to ignore the production costs and just let it go to kind of crazy levels, you know, and even if we put a 20% mean reversion, it's still, and this is of course just one scenario, and we have to go to formulas, I guess, and just put calculate sheet, and you know, it goes around and this. But if we put 0% mean reversion, we get a dramatic kind of different thing. Then it's going down to 2 again. Oh, then it goes up to 120. It goes really high. Oh, then it's high again. This one had a lot of years down by 10, and there we have it. Another one that just goes down to about nothing. That one stays the same, and okay. So you can see just how different, how enormous the effect of the mean reversion is. Now, of course, if you put what is actually probably the production cost, maybe it was 70 then, that, you know, and then we put a mean reversion even of 20%, then we'll get hover around there, okay? So these mean reversions have an enormous effect, and you can see that we virtually never default there, okay? And I think what we'll do now is let's press Shift F11 and make a new sheet, and we'll call that our simulate sheet. And what we'll do is just take the let's name these cells. If I select the three cells and press Shift Control F3 and press left column, then it will name this one minimum DSCR, PLCR, LLCR. Okay, and now we're going to make some scenarios where we put the outputs, and we do this in different columns. And again, this part of it's the easiest part, because all you do is make a little macro. You can go to macros over here. Now, I guess I don't have one in this sheet, do I? And I guess I can't create one, so we'll just create one over here. Whoops. We'll just create one over here and call it simulate. Okay, and then we stop the macro immediately, and then we go to edit. Okay, and then we just say, okay, let's put for I equal, for instance, how about row equal 10 to input box, and then let's put a number of simulations, and then we'll put plus 10. So this will just go, and then we'll put, how about before that, we'll put column equal input box, enter column number. Okay, and then, oops, I forgot the gimme, double gimme, and then we'll put, now we'll just go around this and put range, how about cells, row, comma, call equals range, and then min DSCR, I hope that's how I spelled it, and then cells, row, comma, call, plus 1, oops, equals range, LLCR, okay, and cells, row, comma, call, plus 2, equals range, PLCR. And if we want to remember kind of what the scenario we did was, I suppose we could move these things over here. I copied them instead of moving them, excuse me. Select these, Shift Control F3. Now we'll put all this stuff in our macro. I'm going to copy this and just go back to our macro, and then right after the column, okay, let's put range cells, how about we'll put in row 2, call equals start price, like this. And then see, okay, I know I spelled it wrong. Ugh. And then cells 3, call equal range start price. Okay, and then let's do the same thing. Cells 2, call equal volatility. And I did it wrong because we should have said cells 2, call +1. Okay, this is just putting the titles on the top. Cells 3. This should be 3. Okay. 3, call +1. You got the idea. Equals range volatility. Okay. And why don't I pause the video so you don't have to watch me do this stuff anymore. Oops, I can't even pause it anymore. Okay, let's review what we have here. So we have a sub. Now the hardest part was almost putting the column number in. We ask for a column number, and then what we have to do is go skip. So if we want to do the first one with no mean reversion, then the next column number might be first column number might be column 4, then column 10. You know, skip a few so we can see it. And then I went over 2 columns. So we'll put the title and then in 2 columns what the range of the title is. And then finally we have to put next row. Okay, and then we're going to go, so for 2 through 6 we put the titles. Starting in row 10 we put the DSCR. And actually what we could do is, if we got really fancy, we could copy this and maybe in row 9 put first, we're going to put the minimum DSCR in the first one, and then copy this a couple more, and in the next column we'll put the okay, then we'll put the LLCR and the PLCR. And I think I'm going to do, let's make a scenario, okay? And once we make a scenario, oops, I'm still in the wrong place here. We can go to our sheet called simulate, and you know, to be really fancy, of course we have to make it look really sophisticated. So we can go to our shapes and do this, and you know what we're going to see is that this ooh, isn't that cool? That's the one I like. I hope you like that better than some silly smiley face. That's what a lot of people like to do at first. Okay, and then let's see if it works. And let's put the column number here. Maybe it's 3 at first. And of course I made a mistake. Column number equals start price. Why did that not like that? Okay, I'm going to pause. Okay, now this is the kind of stuff that's frustrating. It took me a second to get this. I didn't know this. You had to dimension column as a single. Didn't know that column was supposed to be that. Okay, so once I dimensioned that as a single, then let's run this. And let's say we put it in column 4, then it puts all those things in. Well, let's say we run 1,000 scenarios. That's what's in that silly teaching note. And then we get all of our things. Now, when we had the minimum DSCR was always the first one, Okay, let's make a different scenario. And let's, in this case, put a mean reversion of 0. So that means the production cost is ignored. Okay, so it's exactly the same. Go to simulate, and let's put that in. We could put this in 1, 2, 3, 4. How about 4, 5, 6? We'll put it in column 8. Let's put 1,000 simulations. Okay. And in this case, we got all these negatives and all these DSCRs below 1. Some PLCRs even go below 1. We better put our fancy little thing here. You really have to buy this stupid at-risk program? Oh my God! Now let's make another one, and let's put, you know, this ridiculously low production cost, but let's put a mean reversion of just 10% in. Okay, and so we have a very mean reversion cost, and we have a very low production cost. Ridiculous, really. So this is column number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's put it in column 13 or something. Okay. Let's put 1,000. That's how easy it is to run it. On this one, we occasionally do get a minimum DCR below 1. We virtually never get a PLCR or LLCR below 1. I haven't really looked, but I'm sure maybe we get some below 1. Is there any below 1? I can't see one yet. So this probability of default, they said the probability of default was some crazy number like 30%. How absolutely ridiculous. In this case, we have a really low production cost, and we have a really low mean reversion, so it can wander around a whole lot. So you know what we'll do right now is let's kind of over here put the probability that this is below 1. Okay. All you can do is put equal COUNTIF, and we can click on this one and put a comma and put less than 1, and then finish that. And then if we want the probability of that, we divide that by 1,000. Okay, so if we have this one, we have 0 probability. When we have this one, we have a 70% probability. If we use the LLCR, we have a different number than the PLCR. That's bizarre too, because, oh God. And then this one, we have a slight probability, well, not that slight. We have a 31% probability of default, but 0 probability of loss once you have a default. So that's just how absurd the numbers are. And I think that's it. I should have, you know, taken a long time and talked about correlations and everything else, but that's it. That's a Monte Carlo simulation. It only took 23 minutes. It's one of the shorter videos, actually.